What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to give a quick video on this Jon Jones situation. I understand I'm a couple of days behind the 8 ball, but I'm a very busy individual, so I've just not been able to really do a video more recently. But hey, I wanted to speak on this because this is something that I have some personal experience with, okay? And Jon Jones right now, for all of those who just think he's just this bad guy and is a rule breaker and he's full of himself and he's got too much money and too much time and whatever it is, any preconceptions you may have of Jon Jones, I want to be clear as someone who has struggled with drug addiction. Now listen, mine's not specifically alcohol, okay? Alcohol's never really been my thing, although I have drank and I have gotten drunk and inebriated quite a bit in my life, but alcohol still is not my thing. It's not my drug of choice. But Jon Jones is the equivalent with alcohol as I am with something like pain pills or an opiate or something like that, right? You ever been around one of those people where they always end up being the drunk, wasted, just out of their head person at the party? And it gets to a point after a while where you're like, damn, I hope so and so doesn't show up, man, because I swear every time that dude shows up or every time that girl shows up, somebody ends up having to carry them out of there or drive them home or, whatever the case is. But I do know what it's like to not be able to control a certain substance, okay? If I were to be given a bottle of 60 pain pills right now, whereas some people might be able to take one and then, oh, well, I'll take it again 3 months from now when I have some pain. Nah. For me, that shit will be gone in a week tops, right? I cannot take something like that responsibly. Anyway, this is not about me. I want to talk about Jon Jones, but I just wanted to give a little backstory to let you guys know I'm not judging and I'm not one to sit in judgment, but from a perspective of a person who's had an issue with drug addiction, I see what Jon's problem is. Maybe a little clearer than some people see what Jon's problem is. And we're going to look at what it is that he said on Instagram. We're going to look at that video, and then we're also going to look at a couple of more videos, not to rehash old Jon Jones shit, okay? This is not a bash Jon Jones session, but history tends to kind of repeat itself. And when you see things like this repeatedly happening with certain people, you get to a point after a while where you can pretty much bet your ass that this dude's got a problem. This dude's got a drinking problem. It's that simple. He has a problem with alcohol. He's one of those guys that if he's drinking, he's getting fucked up. He's not a person who, goes to the restaurant, has a couple of beers. Okay, I'm good. Now I have to drive home. That's not Jon Jones. Jon Jones is that guy. Cannot control it. He's a guy that if he has one drink, he's having 20. And we've all, been around or seen people like this. And I'll share a quick story. When I was in my early 20s, there's this guy who was a friend of mine. And I would go over to his apartment, maybe once a week or something like that on Friday night. And we would just play guitar and, video games and stuff. I was still a younger kid. But there was a guy, our thing at that time was weed. We smoked weed. Okay, this is back when I was a pothead. Well, there was a guy who was several years older than us that lived upstairs. Okay, and he would come down and he would bring like a box of wine with him. Okay, and I started noticing after several weeks of being around this guy that every time that he was there, before the night was over, like we were having to literally help carry this guy back up the stairs to his apartment. He only lived upstairs, right? but he couldn't even make it back up there. That's how inebriated he was getting, right? And we're all sitting around just smoking a little weed, getting blazed, and so you know how it is when you're sober or when you're not drunk and you're seeing someone else get into that condition, you're just like, damn, and it really did get to a point where we kind of felt bad for the dude. Like, damn, man, this guy needs some help. For what I understand, he did end up going and getting some help. And I wasn't good friends with him, but he was that guy. This dude does not drink without getting completely sloshed, completely wasted, you know? And listen, that's Jon Jones. Okay. Now, when we listen to this initial video, the one that he posted on Instagram the other night, listen to his words. It's going to be obvious to you that he's inebriated. He's slurring his words. He's obviously been drinking quite heavily. Okay. So let's first take a listen to that, and then we're going to react to it a little bit. Okay. So check it out.
Jon Jones went on Instagram Live in the middle of the night last night and appeared to be extremely intoxicated. It appears Jon said you go on a trip and get pissed off, disappointed, and as a dad, you just want to kill him.
On a trip and get pissed off, disappointed, and as a dad, you just want to kill him. On a trip and get pissed off, disappointed, and as a dad, you just want to kill him.
All right. So he said, going on vacation and, you just, next thing you know, you just want to kill him. I mean, who's he talking about there? Who do you go on vacations with, right? Who do you go on trips with? Your family, typically, right? So there's really no one else that I think he could be talking about right there. And listen, I want to be clear about something. He said what he said, and that's what's on my thumbnail of this video. Do I think that Jon Jones actually wants to murder his children, or that Jon Jones would actually murder his children? No, I don't think so. And I would like to think that even in a drunken stupor, he would never do anything like that, right? So I don't think that, and I don't think that he's, for all the shit that Jon Jones has done and all the bad shit that we can equate to the name Jon Jones, no, I don't think he wants to murder his children, okay? So I just want to say that right out of the gate. But this is a repeated pattern that we keep seeing with him, right? And we had a thing a couple of years back where he got inducted into the Hall of Fame over in Vegas, and he was arrested that night. And this was because he was apparently beating on his fiance, the mother of his children, in the hotel in front of his children, to the point where the children actually are the ones that called the police because they were in fear for either their mother's safety or their own safety, one of the two, right? And then there's that famous video of hours later, outside, I guess it was outside the hotel or wherever it was, hours later, there's this famous body cam footage from the police officers, and he was just ranting and raving and slurring his words. Oh, at 1 minute, I hate you. I hate you. And then the very next minute, yes, sir, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, just obviously, as talented athletically as he is, you have to know Jon Jones is an intelligent individual. Okay, so he's one of those guys that when he goes there and he gets that drunk, it becomes immediately obvious. When you hear him in his interviews and stuff like that, when he's not been drinking, obviously, very, well spoken, formulates his thoughts very well, but very, very good at putting them into words very eloquently, just very intelligent guy. You can tell you're seeing an intelligent guy there. But he drinks enough and to a point where he's just all like frontal, like lizard brain. You know what I mean? I mean, his brain is just, duh, 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 That's the first thing to go, is like that reasoning. It affects your judgment, well, I probably shouldn't do this because if I do this, then this will happen. All that shit goes away when thinking about consequences and what could potentially happen. And so all of that stuff goes away when you drink to a point where you're just lizard brained. I've been there. So I'm not judging him. And also, too, for him, obviously, he becomes violent and aggressive when this happens. All right, so look, we're going to take a look at that video a little bit. Again, this is not a walk down memory lane. Let's bash Jon Jones for everything he's ever done. But take a listen to this, okay?
Yeah. Humiliate me my whole time. You f***ing nerd. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. You f***ing nerd. I hate you so much. Thank you. My horrified name. What's your name? Put it on camera. Just like you, Josh. Nerd. Don't touch me. Please don't hurt me. Get your phone.
Again, the way he's unable to control his emotions. I hate you. You can tell he's extremely inebriated to a point where the fact that he's Jon Jones and the fact that he should know that he is a worldwide famous individual. So this body cam footage, whatever he says and whatever he does in these moments are going to be seen by the masses, are going to be seen by the world, right? And in a sober state of mind, he would probably think about that, and he would probably watch his tongue a little bit, watch his actions a little bit, right? But all of those thought processes have been so far degraded by the major amount of alcohol consumption, he just doesn't care. It just never even pops in his mind that this is going to suck later. And this is going to reflect bad on me later. And later, people are going to look at me and they're going to call me a wife beater. And then later, I'm going to have to do this and I'm going to have to go to court for this. And I'm going to have to, never, not once thinking about the consequences. And that is a sign of a man who is unable to control his alcohol consumption, right? I.e., an alcoholic. Hate to say it. The best fighter in UFC history is an alcoholic. He has an alcohol problem. He has an alcohol addiction, right? And this is not just, I just go on a bender every once in a while and do that. No. If Jon Jones has been seen in public this many times in this sort of state of mind, you can guarantee that this is something that he's doing probably nightly. Probably nightly. I will say the majority of the time, he's probably at home. He's probably somewhere, in the privacy of his own home doing it. And then he has times where he goes out and he does it. Either way, whether he's just on a bender or whether it's something that he does every night, both can be an issue with alcohol, right? And there's one more that I want to look at. Most people have probably seen this, but this is one that I didn't hear really a whole lot of people talking about it. This is one from about a year ago or more, and it's a video of a comedy club, and Jon Jones is in the audience of the comedy club, and it doesn't show him directly. I don't know about you, but I'm a really good judge of, that's definitely him. You can just tell. I've heard him talk enough. Certain, the tone of voice and inflections and even the dialect and accent, it's just unmistakable from person to person to person, and there's nobody else on earth that sounds like Jon Jones. This, again, at this comedy club is obviously Jon Jones. Listen to how drunk, out of his mind, and inebriated this guy is. Check it out.
Fuck off.
So wait, you're an audience member, right?
Uh-huh.
Are you a little drunk, I assume?
Un poquito.
Un poquito? I would say
I want your her shit. I want a good white joke. Like I want a white guy to give me the best.
Well, I'll do a rebuttal to you.
It's been so many years. I want my brothers to give me one.
Hey.
Guys, give it to him. Give it to him for a good black joke.
Huh?
I was saying, guys, give it to him for a good black joke.
Give it to yes, everybody give it to me right now. Just blackout drunk?
Well, my kiwi over here, it was just the resource of everything. That is awesome.
Are you sure this is alcohol or is it? Huh?
None of you guys have been funny so far.
Oh yeah. You know, thanks. I appreciate the person who's drunk out of their senses thinking we're all funny. That's great. Everybody here will give you a hug on your way.
I'm more like the type who put my finger in your butthole.
Wait, what? Whoa. Hold on.
I'll put my finger in your butthole.
We just missed a very important. You're talking about finger in your balls?
Finger in the butthole.
Oh, finger in the
A whole
butthole.
black finger in the butthole.
Is that how they do it in Rochester?
That's how they get down. That's the way we say I love you.
What have you been drinking tonight?
Oh, this is myself.
That is
Myself is the only answer.
that's
I'm a whole goal. Hell yeah, dude! Come on, let's go.
Let's go! Everybody, let's go! Where do you want to go? We go to Six Flags.
You're debating. You're thinking about it. You're like, how am I going to use this minute in a comic way? You can do it. I'm waiting for it. I'm the only black guy here.
Let's go to Six Flags.
Oh, you're racist.
Hey! Oh, Black History Month, you forgot.
He doesn't count.
There you have 3 clear examples just within the past couple of years of Jon Jones in a public place, drunk and inebriated to the point where, well, I take that back. This one on Instagram, I'm not sure where he was actually when this happened. I mean, we know he took the video. That, in and of itself, should let you know this guy is way too drunk to think clearly. And in a sober state of mind, he would have had to know that if you put this out on Instagram, dude, somebody's going to clip this. Somebody's going to grab this. And it doesn't matter if you're going to go back and delete it later. It's already out there, right? Once it gets put on the internet, especially if you're a really famous dude like that, it's not going anywhere. And, but in a sober state of mind, he would have absolutely thought about this beforehand. I'm sitting here saying, you just want to kill him. Listen, it won't be the first time that a parent has gotten frustrated with their kids, whether it be on a trip or something else, and just been like, damn, you just want to kill them. I just wanted to kill them. I mean, there's been thousands, if not millions, of parents to say almost that exact thing, right, in their past about their children. In most cases, it's not like, I'm calling the fucking police, man. You just said you want to kill your kids. You understand that it's just kind of a figure of speech. They really didn't mean it. It's a way of expressing that they were angry with them. And listen, that could have been the case here with Jon Jones. But for someone like him, it's such a bad look because of his history, right? And because his history and his tendency to get so drunk and so inebriated that he flies off the handle and does stuff like beats on his fiance and scares his kids half to death, has his own kids calling the police on him, right? Knowing that there are tons of body cameras around you looking and recording every movement, and to sit there on the street, I hate you, boom, and bang your head onto the hood of a car, boom, I'm sorry, officer. This is such a poor look for a guy like Jon Jones, who has a history like Jon Jones, and who has a history of being violent and being aggressive when he gets into that inebriated state, right? And I think he's one of those guys that if he's sober, he's probably a pretty cool dude. He's probably a pretty nice dude. I mean, he seems to be that way by all accounts, Any time that something like this happens with Jon Jones that the public looks at and questions and says, oh, geez, man, it always involves alcohol. Every time. A lot of people are making this way bigger than it really needs to be, making this something that it's really not. I'm sure he doesn't really want to kill his children. I'm sure that he never would really do something like that. But you also have to, there is a valid concern there, okay? Because he has done things before that we know of, like be physical with his wife, beat his wife. And listen, if this is one of those things where he did that in Las Vegas that night, I can guarantee you that's not the first and only time he's ever done that, dude. You know? And if it's alcohol and his inability to control the amount of consumption of alcohol, if that's what's causing him to act out in these ways, and then you hear him on the internet saying something, I just wanted to kill him, and he's obviously, his words are slurring. Obviously, another error in judgment, putting this out onto the internet and knowing that people are going to hear this and knowing that people are already going to know that you've been involved in domestic violence cases. You tell that he was very inebriated by the way he was slurring his words. And you can't help but have some sort of concern for his family and even his children, knowing that he's a guy who tends to get violent, who tends to get aggressive when he drinks, you know? And I mean, we've all known somebody like that too. I mean, I've known people before in my past that's really, really nice people, but man, you don't want to be around these dudes when they're about 4 or 5 hours into drinking liquor on a Friday or Saturday night. They start wanting to fight everybody, start wanting to fight their best friends. I mean, there's just people like that, man. And unfortunately, it seems like Jon Jones is one of those dudes. Do I think Jon Jones wants to kill his kids? No. Do I think he would? I don't think so. But also, too, this is a guy who acts in ways that he normally wouldn't act when he's in a state of blacked out drunkenness, right? And if you get too out of your mind, you will absolutely do things that you will come to regret later and sometimes don't even remember having done, right? And, bro, I want to be honest, that scares me for him. For him to get so drunk one night that he just does something this irreparable that he can't take back, like seriously hurt somebody or seriously hurt one of his family members or something like that. And, I mean, I'd have a ton of respect for Jon Jones. I've been watching the UFC since 1993, so I remember when he first came into the organization. I've always had a ton of respect for him as a fighter and as a martial artist and even as a person, but I can't help but have a concern for, this dude needs some help. He needs some help. He needs to go to AA, man. He needs to take this thing seriously because he is in a bad spot right now with his alcohol use, and it shows. It shows. When we're seeing something more than once, more than twice every year or every couple of years where public intoxication, and I'm talking about, I mean, you heard him in the comedy club. Bro, you couldn't even hardly understand what he was saying, And if this dude is getting that drunk in public, you can only imagine how inebriated he might be when he's at home, in the comfort of his own home, and he's not driving anywhere, and he's not this, and he's not that, And it also, too, the fact that he's had the DUIs and stuff. I'm not sure how many, if I know he's had one. I don't know if it's more than one or, but I do know that he's been caught. He had this, left the scene of an accident several years back. He just needs some help, bro. He just needs some help. And I think it's amazing, to be honest, that he's remained. It just shows how talented and gifted of an athlete he is, knowing that at 37 years old, he's living his life this way, probably drinking like this on a regular basis. And that's not good for your body, dude. And I'm sure that as good as Jon Jones is, we could probably count him for even being better if he didn't live his life that way and drinking and getting inebriated all the time like that, right? It's toxic to your body, it's poisonous to your body. But it just goes to show how gifted and talented he is, and how, God has blessed him with talent that supersedes so many other fighters, that he's still able to live this sort of lifestyle and still be at the very top of the game. I don't know. I just wanted to speak on it because I have some experience in this sort of thing as far as drug addiction goes, and I just want to talk about it a little bit. What do you guys think about Jon's situation? What do you think needs to happen with Jon? Let me know down in the comments. If you would, please do subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks so much for watching.